Our next speaker is James Middleton, who is one of the founders of Ocean Legacy. James has been involved in plastic recycling and the ocean plastic reclamation industry for the past 6 years and has a vast network of global connections with projects in BC, Panama, and elsewhere. James, his partner Chloe, and his team do amazing work facilitating the cleanup and restoration of our oceans and beaches. They're dedicated to making this world a better place, and I want you all to give him a warm welcome.
Hi.
Hi, James.
How's it going?
Good. So I think Dustin's going to hop on and do a quick Q&A with you.
I'm here, ready to share.
Dustin, are you there?
Do you want me to answer the how many tons of plastic end up in the ocean?
Yeah. Do you want to share the answer with everyone?
No, let's see. It's really a hard answer. Even the answer that's known to be right or right-ish, I would say that it's likely, well, I know it's exponentially increasing every day, every year. So there is sort of a relative figure that we can figure out with how much plastic is in our average waste output as humans, into our landfills, but that changes from the different type of countries that everyone lives in, how their recycling infrastructure is designed and how well it operates. So yeah, it's a tough one to answer because how much ocean plastic comes from land, that changes dramatically from Canada to America to Panama to Asia, Vietnam, Japan. It depends on what events happen. How much ocean plastic came from land during the Japanese tsunami? A lot. That's how we started.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Why don't you take a second to tell our viewers here a little bit more about what you do?
Well, so in 2011, just to tie right into that Japanese tsunami, we saw how much material was coming on to our coastline after the tsunami almost instantaneously. It took like 6 months for some of the polystyrene material to start washing up on shores, and it was a couple of years of seeing that and trying to think about how we could help deal with the situation. We my partner Chloe and I, with her background and skill set and my background and skill set, we decided to try and tackle the pollution problem that was washing up on our shores. It brought light to the issue, but since we've been operating as the Ocean Legacy Foundation since 2013, we've seen that the problem was much bigger than just the material that came over from the tsunami. So we started off just going out with some volunteers, friends of ours, to go and camp out and collect all this material that had been washing up on the shorelines. We started in a place called Muquin Brooks Peninsula on the northwest side of Vancouver Island. Very remote area, boat access only. Beautiful, very beautiful place. It's pretty wild. The last town nearby is a boat access only town called Cayuquit. So we met a local there, Luke Osinenko, who he invited us out, and we said, okay, let's go see what's going on there. And we ended up pulling out, quite a bit of material and going back there year after year and seeing just the amount of material just kept washing up every day. We'd go clean a beach and there would be more material there next morning. So that was the beginning of us trying to figure out what to do with the material afterwards. And that's evolved dramatically over the years, because we were pretty stubborn with the material that we were finding. We didn't want to just put it into the landfill. Kind of saw that there's a need for the material to be viewed differently, as it's had a lot of handling. It's a lot of effort's gone into creating any type of material that we have on this planet. Anything we touch inherently has the value of our labor associated to it. So just throwing this stuff away and forgetting about it as just.
So I've always thought burning it was a horrible solution.
Yeah, so where we've gone with it is basically try and recycle it. Plastic to oil was one of the first solutions that we were really vested in and working on, and that's still a really amazing solution for a lot of material, especially a lot of the heavily soiled material that we find. But we've switched gears a little bit over the last few years, and we've been working on plastic to plastic recycling. And the facility behind me here is our warehouse, an 8,000 square foot facility that basically focuses on the hard plastics, so high density polyethylene, polypropylene, a lot of polypropylene line. And we've amalgamated being able to basically take all the beach cleanups, all the nonprofits, all the local efforts, the industrial efforts to do large scale beach cleanups, and have all that stuff come into one facility and be able to sort and separate everything into its different categories. And we have well over 30 categories of materials that we find, from tires, styrofoam, there's batteries, some metal, glass, but we've really. Pardon me?
You ever come across an animal say while doing it?
Animals? Yeah.
Just around any, like that.
Yeah, well, so we've done not only work in British Columbia, but also down in Panama and Mexico and Costa Rica. We did a pretty large scale cleanup in Panama where we were in the Las Perlas Islands, which is on the Pacific coast down there, just 60 miles out from Panama City. And we were on an island. There's no inhabitants on it. It's just, they're pretty sandy coral based islands. And someone actually found a living leatherback turtle inside of a plastic water bottle. It was one of our friends there, Susan Anders. She's the wife of Manuel Anders, who was the reason we went down there. He's the president of Nestle Waters, Latin America, basically the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. So they were helping us clean these beaches, and they were up in the grass and found a plastic water bottle with a living turtle in it. and she actually filmed opening it up. It was like finding a ship in a bottle kind of thing. But yeah, the turtle survived, and it was a good story for sure. It was pretty amazing to see. It's kind of crazy just think of how the turtle even got in there. We weren't even sure how that was possible, because when turtles hatch out of their eggs, they're basically that big. You know, they're the size of that egg. And yeah, that was pretty amazing. But yeah, it happens, but we don't find as many animals trapped as you'd think. Like we have come across it, but yeah, it's like a lot of other animals will eat anything else that's dead. So, you know, if something dies, the ocean's basically a giant carnivore. So, you know, it's chance whether you can come across. But we definitely find lots of floats that have been eaten by creatures of all sizes. There's, you know, styrofoam blocks that have, I'm sure you've seen logs with holes all the way riddled through it from some like woodworms that eat. And there's those same creatures are eating the styrofoam, and their excrement is comprised of styrofoam, and they seem to be sustaining themselves on it somehow. And you know, we'll find fish eating the foam blocks. We'll find geese eating it. You know, people, all kinds of creatures undoubtedly are filling their guts, and they're asphyxiating themselves from consuming all that. But there's something even worse than the material that we can see. It's how plastic breaks down. It photodegrades, and it starts turning into the microplastic, and then past the micro you can still kind of see, you know, something smaller than a centimeter. But then it starts getting into the nano, and the nanoplastics are, you know, those little tiny microscopic hydrogen and carbon molecules, and so if it's PVC, chlorine, and that's starting to. My partner Chloe's just finished writing a paper for her master's on how the nanoparticles are breaking through the cell membrane, the blood membrane on a cellular level. So it's like everything on this planet right now is just riddled with our crap.
We need to create value out of this material so it stops going into the environment. We need circular economies.
Well, yeah, it's full scale for sure. You know, whatever we do here needs to be done.
I'm curious, in your opinion, what do you think some of the biggest things people can do themselves at home to try and prevent this issue?
Well, right on that topic, I think easiest thing at home is to set up, if you have a water filtration system for your water coming in, because you care about the water quality coming into your home and into your body as you drink it. You can have the equal care for your output off the back end of your laundry machine, for sure, is the easiest. The Vancouver Aquarium out here is also known as, they also have the scientific research department known as Oceanwise, which has a broad look at the sustainability of fisheries and you know, fish caught, and you know, is it ocean wise? And you'll see a little label in restaurants beside some of the meals and fish caught, or you know, prawns or crab or anything. They'll put a stamp, and it's kind of a certification as to how sustainable that product is. They also did a bunch of great research on setting up the water filtration systems on the back end of your washing machine, because you know, everything we're wearing, everything everywhere is polymer based. You know, it's plastic, and so all these fibers, they go out and they do water samples anywhere they want, and they're finding the fibers, they're finding microplastics, nanoplastics, So if you get a really good, just 5 micron, 10 micron water filter, ceramic water filter on the back end of your water output, you can capture a lot of that material. So that's the
Great idea.
I think that's one of the most inexpensive, low-cost ways that we could make an impact in the general public, everyone's laundry facilities, and then and then you have to maintain it, but that's not too hard. Turn the water off, unscrew it, look at it. It might be, people think things are tougher than they are, and they just don't do them. They stop. It's like, I don't know about it. I can't alter my regular way of being, but it's not. Life doesn't work like that. You just gotta get your hands dirty and have a look at what the issues are and try and be a part of the change and solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're doing what you are to help be part of that change. I'm inspired by your work and the things that you do. It's always exciting to see the new stuff that you're working on and getting going out there. Thank you so much for taking some time. If you'll be sticking around to the end here, we'll open up for some Q&A at the end. If anybody has any questions for James, please type them in the message box there. So thank you so much for your time today, James.
I know, I told you I talk a lot.
Hey, it's good. There's a lot to talk about on this issue. There's so much to talk about on this issue.
Well, you guys, if you want more, there's all kinds of things with our EPIC program and Academy. There's a whole program that people can actually take online, and right now it's designed to be free, but it's basically a university program that people can learn more about the education policy practices. It's available in English, Spanish, and French right now, and we're looking to put it into more languages just as more funding becomes available. So check out oceanlegacy.ca, and yeah, you can contact us anytime. We're here to help.
Thank you so much.
You bet. I'll turn my camera off if that's needed. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, James. Justin, did you want to do a few more polling questions before I introduce our next speaker?
Well, I can give everybody a quick little blurb to the answer of those questions there. So earlier we asked how many tons of plastic end up in the ocean every year. Now, as James said, that is a very subjective question, but the number that is given is around 8 or at least 8 million tons, which is huge. And apparently about 80% of that comes directly from the land. That's globally. Region to region, things are a little different, but yeah. So next up, we wanted to do a little cap here. So we've got a couple of questions for you. How many tons of construction waste per year do you think are projected to be created by 2025? And secondly, how much of that do you think is recycled? Because construction and demolition materials are wide-ranging, wood and concrete, brick and beyond, it's difficult to sort through and often builds up. While not every piece of debris can be recycled, much of it should be. And it's estimated that C&D materials take up over 4,300 acres at a depth of 50 feet, resulting in over 3 billion square yards of landfill every year. This isn't just bad for the environment. All of that waste is incredibly difficult for builders to manage efficiently and affordably. And quite frankly, it's just wasteful. We can do better. It's time to change how we do things. So stay tuned here to learn some more about construction, demolition waste, and how we can do better.
Okay, thank you, Justin. I'll let you launch those questions and people can start inputting their answers while I'm doing our next intro. So up next, we have Ziggy Last. Ziggy has over 35 years of experience in the construction industry, from concrete foundations to home renovations and nearly every facet of commercial and residential construction. So we're really lucky to have Ziggy here today. Currently, Ziggy is the Ontario Operations Manager for Stowe Canada. So welcome, Ziggy. All right, so while we're waiting for Ziggy to join, it looks like everyone's inputting their answers, which is great. I think Dustin will go over the answers after our next interview session.
I did turn my camera on, but we're just waiting for it to load, I guess.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you, Ziggy. So yeah, we can go ahead and get started, Dustin.
Oh, here I am.
Hey, Ziggy, thank you so much
Good
for
day. How's
taking
everybody?
the time out of your busy schedule to.
How you doing, Dustin? Oh, my pleasure. It's an honor to be here to give you a hand and talk about something that I'm fully believing in as well.
Thank you, thank you. So how many years have you been involved in the construction industry, and what areas have you worked in?
That's a pretty broad question. I've been in the construction field in many facets, probably over 35 years, actually at least over 35 years. I know I don't even look 35 years old, but that's just the way it is. I've done concrete foundations, home renovations, interior, exterior renovations, general contractor, and also in sales and management at building supplies. And now I'm in operations for Stowe Canada, basically the largest stucco company in the world. We do a lot of EIFs and exterior claddings, and another company that is quite dedicated to the green building and taking care of the environment.
Can you tell us about your experiences with construction waste?
That is a very broad question, and I've been to many job sites, including the one I worked at, and then with sales, all the job sites I visited, and then in operations and production and deliveries and whatnot that I've been part of over the years. There is an obnoxious amount of waste on a site, not only from the trades, but also the general contractors and then all the neighbors in the neighborhood throwing their waste into the dumpsters on the job site on top of that. It's not surprising to get a 40-foot container of waste from building one home, and it's obnoxious the amount of waste, and a lot of it is material that can be reutilized or even donated, reused. I've seen 20 sheets of drywall, brand new. They don't want to take it back, so they throw it in the dumpster. Full 2x4s, they just throw them on the ground, and even stucco materials, what we produce and sell, they throw it on the ground and use it to for a landing strip. Instead of walking in the mud, they're walking on EPS foam, and it breaks up, and there's shards of foam blowing all over the neighborhood because they just throw it on the ground. The construction industry as a whole, I think, needs to step up big time in how they manage their use and waste on sites.
Yeah, I know from my experience in the trades, it's been unbelievable the amount of waste from every job site. It makes me sick to the stomach. Even things now too. Now they got these plastic decking, and I was installing that stuff, and you make a big cloud of plastic dust every time you cut it. There's got to be a better way. So what do you think are some of the big reasons so much of that ends up going to waste, and like what do you think could be done to solve some of that?
Yep. I think the onus has to go back to even the engineers and architects, and obviously the general contractor on site. They need to have some protocols in place to deal with the exorbitant waste that's from one small thing, much less some of the skyrise projects that are going on that is container after container of waste on a weekly basis. And a lot of it, there's no single stream recycling done on any job sites. Piles of steel studs and or waste materials that actually can't be reutilized. There's no setups for stuff that could be donated to Habitat for Humanity, for example. Some valid causes that can utilize some of this waste, and it's perfectly good materials or perfectly good recyclable products that there's a lot of good recycling programs. I'll say that with caution. There's recycling programs anyways. A lot of them don't recycle the materials. For example, at our place of business, we've set up recycling bins, so we separate our cardboard and glass and plastics, and those are single stream recycling that we do on site, but they won't take any of the shrink wrap, which is a very recyclable product, but that ends up in our waste container. So the onus, you need to get the general contractors, and every piece of the puzzle needs to put a foot forward and proceed with taking care of our planet. And it is something I truly believe in. I even have a recycling program at home, and the kids really balked at it at first, but now they're on board, and we have a larger household too from there when the pandemic allows, I guess. But we have less our entire household every 2 weeks. Mind you, we try and reduce our footprint as a household, and if everybody took that little step, and what I saw when you were it's not just making a change, it's also being the change.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So have you seen any big changes or trends going on? I mean, you're involved in material sales and have a good idea of that kind of market. Have you seen any major trends going on in the building materials market?
More in the EIFS or stucco in the now. With Stowe, again, it's the greener footprint, and there's LEEDs values from governments that are promoted by the EIFS manufacturers because it's a greener kind of product. But as far as the waste materials, I see a lot of engineers and architects looking at liquid applied air barrier options rather than sheet goods, where you have rolls and rolls and rolls of non-recyclable products. Whereas the liquid applied, you put the lid on the pail when you're done that project and carry it to the next one. It's less waste, it's less landfill. So it's in my specific industry now, that's one of the trends I'm seeing is more care on, it boils down to the bottom dollar. How much is it costing me to have all this waste when I can close the lid on a pail and carry it to the next project? So
well, that's what people are looking for, stuff like that savings as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it boggles my mind how some of these companies can still make money while throwing away so many brand new materials.
It is really ridiculous. It's almost obscene.
Yes,
You get
indeed.
some construction projects and they're throwing out, rather than donate, they ordered the wrong windows. They throw them in the dumpster. And instead of donating or recycling, reusing, which is a great motto to try and keep your costs down, keep your waste costs that are obnoxious.
Yeah.
Even the cost of having a dumpster at your job site. It's not cheap. But
And
then
it
throwing
shouldn't
away
be.
good.
It shouldn't be.
No, it should be more expensive. And
I
make
agree.
recycling a valuable and viable option for people. And which is, again, ties in great with your company, utilizing basically material that can't be used anywhere else, utilizing it in the building industry is fantastic.
Yeah. A permanent material for a permanent solution. No more of those temporary materials for temporary throwaway solutions. You can maybe do that, but then let's put it into a permanent solution.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you so much for your time today, Ziggy. I really appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure speaking with you. Full disclosure, Ziggy is my uncle, and it's been great having you in here.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, my little nephew, and come a long way.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
And you've got my support, whatever we can do to help, and not only on a personal level, but I really believe in your business. So take that to heart.
Thank you. Thank you.